Test. 1, 2.
I've got Odessa on my mind. I stay worried all the time. Wish I didn't hurt so much, but I don't have that kind of luck. It's a low down dirty shame. I can't even hear her name, so I'm selling off my pride with Odessa on my mind. I've got Odessa in my head. I think I'd like to wake up dead. Then I'd finally take my rest and get this weight up off my chest. Yes, I know I'm talking bad, but I done lost the best I had. There ain't no way to walk no line with Odessa on my mind. I've got Odessa on my mind. I think I rather would be blind than to see her walk away. How much pain can one fool take? See them lights out in the field, a testament to things men yelled. But I ain't got nothing but time and Odessa on my mind. I've got Odessa in my head. Sometimes I'd like to wake up dead. Then I'd finally take my rest and get this weight up off my chest. Yes, I know I'm talking bad, but I done lost the best I had. There ain't no way to walk no line with Odessa on my mind. Saturday Satan, Sunday Saint, fooling your neighbor, that's what you think. Reading the good book, singing the hymns. Come Monday morning and it's back to a life of sin. Oh, Brother Brown, all week he steals. Tells everyone about his big business deal.
All right. We ready to do this? Welcome, everybody, to Discover Texas, brought to you by the University of Texas at Austin. We're really excited about everything that we have planned today. I want to start out with a big warm thank you to Bangers and all the Bangers staff that are helping us make this possible. We're really excited to be here. We've got an exciting day ahead. I'm bringing up my notes on my phone. All right, there we go. Yeah. All right, a quick overview of the day. So KUTX, our good friends at KUTX are up in just a moment with a live recording of My KUTX, and they have a special guest that I'm not going to say. I'm going to let our host do the work. Followed by, at 11 o'clock, we have food. We have food, really good food, brought to you by Bangers. We have a very special presentation at noon that I really encourage you all to stick around for. I'm going to leave you hanging, but it's going to be great. Our panels start at 1 o'clock, and we have panels at 1, 2:30, and 4 o'clock. Over in the Texas Speakeasy, downstairs, we have a networking space, and starting at noon, we will have student and faculty entrepreneurs. We welcome you to go down there, and there's also a really, really cool 10-foot tower replica, and you can go play a video game on it, a custom video game, and if you do good, you might get a signature cocktail or mocktail. I invite you to go. After that, in this house, if you haven't seen the replica Lamborghini, you should go. It's incredible. This evening, we're going to have an opening band at 6:15, and our headliner, Lucius, plays at 7:30. Don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to get out of the way now. KUTX friends, please take it from here.
Hey, y'all. Welcome. I'm Art Levy from KUTX, and I'm the producer of My KUTX. This is our weekly guest DJ show you can hear on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. And normally we record the show in a windowless studio, so this is super cool to do this live. And I am super excited for my guest today. So we're going to record this, and then we're going to air it again next Saturday at 6 p.m. So if you hear it today and you want to hear it again, March 18th, 6 p.m., you can hear this full thing. We're just going to hear little snippets of the songs that the guests picked today, and then we'll do the full songs in the guest DJ set next week. But my guest today is, you probably know him. He's the founder of the Alamo Drafthouse, Mr. Tim League. And a little bit about Tim League, he graduated from Rice, which is a little embarrassing right here, but we won't hold that against him. But he started his first theater out in Bakersfield, California in 1994, and then moved to Austin with his wife in 1995, and that's when they started started Alamo Drafthouse in 1997. And Alamo Drafthouse, known for delicious food, awesome screenings, and absolutely no talking during the movies. And Tim also co-founded Fantastic Fest. This is the largest genre film festival in the United States, and as well as the U.S. film distributor Neon, and I am super excited to have Tim League guest DJ for us. He's picking all of his favorite songs here today. We'll talk about the songs. We'll get to hear a little bit of the songs. So please give a warm welcome to Tim League.
Good morning.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Get situated here.
I'm situated, I think. Yeah.
Have you ever DJ'd like this before?
You know, I was not like this, but I was actually a DJ at Rice, that tiny little college that's not worth mentioning right now. So, yeah, I had the 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. shift. That's where they put the hot talent, to showcase their skills. So
that's KTRU, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I was a college radio DJ at KVRX, University of Texas. Mm-hmm. And we always hated KTRU because your signal was stronger than ours. So if you go, if you go far enough East Austin, you can pick up KTRU.
We had one of the strongest. I don't know how or why.
It's like 50,000 watts.
It was the biggest station in the South for some reason. So may it rest in peace. So
yeah. What did you play on your show? 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Whatever the hell it was, right? So you couldn't. It was very independently minded, and so you couldn't play the hits. No BTS of its day back then. So it was a fairly pretentious radio station. So as long as you fit that mold, then you had a spot.
Did you? I wanted to ask about your musical background. Did you ever play in bands or play instruments or anything?
No, it's a lot like my relationship with film in that I love music, I love film, but I'm pretty much round to talentless when it comes to actually playing. So I can play the ukulele, I play a little bit of guitar, and I think I would have liked to have been in a band, even a no talent band, when I was in high school. I just never thought about it. Right? I got more serious about music in college, really.
And going back to when you started Alamo Drafthouse, do you remember what the very first film y'all screened at the Drafthouse?
Sure. Yeah. It was a partnership with Dudley and Bob, the morning show at the time, and so we asked them to pick their favorite movies, and just coincided with the fact that these are two of my favorite movies, so it worked out well. So it was a double feature of Raising Arizona and it was a double feature of the musical mockumentary Spinal Tap. Jesus
Okay.
Christ.
Yeah.
I was like, smell the glove. Like I was going in these deeper. Yeah, that's what it was. It's the morning. I was just gonna maybe the wheels are a little rusty.
Well, yeah, it's the beginning of South by Southwest, and we'll get into it. How many South by South, or what number South by Southwest is this for you?
So we actually opened for South by Southwest in '97, 2 months before we opened the theater. And so it was so weird. We didn't have restrooms, so we had porta-johns outside. We didn't have air conditioning. It was hot as blazes, and we didn't even have a front door. So every time we finished the day, and then we'd have to screw the sheet of plywood back on the door. And we got approval from the building department, but we didn't really get approval from the fire marshal, and they were not too happy about what we have done. But they let it slide. So.
And was that the South Lamar location?
That was it doesn't exist anymore. It's downtown, 409 Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that had a 10-year run, and then we moved over to the Ritz, and now we're not at the Ritz, but so I even do the math. I guess it's maybe 27.
Oh, man. Well, this is so cool that we're getting to kind of pick your brain about movies. And now with music, I mean, this playlist is all over the place. And I love it. I mean, that's what we love at KUTX. We love just eclecticism. So how did you pick the songs? I mean, we'll go into them individually, but is there any sort of theme overall for these songs?
The instructions for putting the playlist together were very loose, and I like that. So the way I understood it was each of the songs should have a personal meaning for you, or you just like them, even if you just like them now. And I tried to think about it in terms of where I was in my life. So there's some songs from high school, from college, from the first couple years of Alamo, and then there's a song that's in the zeitgeist right now. So.
Perfect. Well, let's get started. I realize you need a playlist. You got to remember this too. So this first song, what can you tell us about this song? Can you pronounce this band name?
Yeah, it's Os Mutantes.
Very good. All right.
So this is this is probably in my college years. I had a really good friend who was I guess a Brazilophile, and so he turned me on to a lot of really interesting world music. And actually, the day he graduated, he moved to Sao Paulo and has been there ever since. Right, was destined to be. He's not Brazilian, but just sort of fell in love with the culture. And so Os Mutantes is part of this tropicalismo music in the 1970s, just kind of game-changing. And this is, I'm probably going to mispronounce the song, but it's Amina Menina. And there's part of the song that I really like is they actually didn't have access to the effects pedals that American bands did, so they actually made their own kind of distortion pedal, and it's so raw and rugged and beautiful. But and these guys were actually, I saw them for the first time in my life about 6 months ago. They actually came and played in Austin. It was just one of those bucket list things that I've always wanted to do. They've just changed. They were a band from the 60s till today and have morphed and been just one of the most creative forces, and I love them.
Well, cool. Let's hear it. This is a great song to start off with. So do you want to introduce the song? Go back to your DJ roots.
No.
All right. This is Os Mutantes, Aminha Menina on my KUTX.
Todo mundo tossindo.
dela. Chama! La lua prateada.
And
A
we'll
little
get
taste.
just a little taste. We'll get the full. You have to get the full song next Saturday, March 18th, 6 p.m. My KUTX. But yeah, I could hear those gnarly fuzz pedals on that one. That's a fun one. That's a fun one. Well, this next song, I feel like probably a lot of people here are gonna know. What can you tell us about this next song?
So this is me in junior high and high school. So I grew up in Houston, but then my dad worked for Shell Oil, and we moved to Shell Mining. So we moved to this little tiny 5,000 person town in southeast Ohio. It was a real culture shock, and it was very mumuch a Led Zeppelin and Van Halen high school. And nothing wrong with either one of those bands, but when I was a freshman, I like loathed that music. It wasn't until I was actually a little bit more mature and realized, oh no, that's actually really great. Sorry to everybody in the jean jacket crowd in high school, but I was a huge Prince fan, and I think I was a dork on just about every possible level, and so just but I lived and breathed Prince. There's probably some embarrassing pictures of me in purple clothing during the high school days. But I particularly like this one, and I chose it because later in life, my first employee at Draft House Films, Evan Husney, this was the last album that his dad was actually Prince's manager. So weirdly, Prince lived with Evan for a couple years and taught him how to play guitar. And his dad had this treasure trove of unreleased Prince recordings from that era, which I think hopefully is seeing the light of day soon. There's a lot of rumbling about his huge body of work that's about to hit from Prince. But this was one of my all-time Prince songs, and I'm happy to. I shouldn't have passed the mic. I can DJ if you want me to cue things up later.
Go for it.
Okay.
Please.
But now I'm getting neurotic about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Prince's Controversy.
Just a tease of Prince. My guest today, Tim League from the Alamo Draft House on My KUTX, playing Prince, Controversy. What was it like when Prince died for you? I mean, I know us at the station, we were just in total shock and mourning, but I'm sure for you it was intense.
I took the day off. I mean, I immediately sent my condolences to Evan, who I mentioned before, who was also a huge fan, and then just went down a rabbit hole of just listening to things that I remembered, knowing there's a lot of things that I had never heard, and so I really just spent the afternoon remembering, and I'm feeling sad now just thinking, I remember that day, I'll always remember that day, and he's such a unique force for so long.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to change gears completely. What's this next artist for
I'm
us?
now realizing there's no chronological order, and this is a pretty random list. Most of the songs are upbeat. This is not. And so this is an Austin artist, and it's somebody I was actually I was completely unaware of, honestly. And there was a documentary that came out a couple years ago. Ethan Hawke directed it, and called Blaze. It's about Blaze, the life and times of Blaze Foley. And I saw the documentary, and I did a Q&A with Ethan, and I just kind of fell in love with it, and I just kept on watching it that weekend. So I said, I'll do as many of these Q&As. I'm here for the whole weekend. So we just had like 5 conversations that weekend about Blaze Foley, and then I went on a deep dive and listened to all of his music, and I still regularly listen to it today. It's just I won't spoil it. it's not the happiest story. I'll just say that maybe, but his music is incredible and thoughtful, and it makes me even more proud to be part of the Austin community.
Yeah. And this is Blaze Foley. What's the song?
Clay Pigeons.
I'm going down to Greyhound Station, gonna get a ticket to ride. Find a big fat lady with 2 or 3 kids and sit down by her side. Ride till the sun comes up and down around me about 2 or 3 times. Smoking cigarettes in the last seat. Try to hide my sorrow from the people I meet and get along with it all. Go down where people say, oh, sing a song with a friend. Change the shape of a man. And get back in the game. Start playing again. I'd like to stay, but I might.
Blaze Foley, Clay Pigeons. Have you ever heard the John Prine cover of that song? John Prine does a version.
I don't think I have, no.
Yeah, and Blaze Foley, just Austin legend. So I guess you weren't around. You weren't in Austin when he was around, right?
No. I lived in Houston until '82, and then came back for college '88 to '92, and didn't really start living here until '95.
Gotcha. And I think he used to play the Hole in the Wall right across the street from KUTX a whole bunch. So definite Austin legend. So I wanted to ask you, how do you listen to music now? Are you a vinyl guy, or how do you find music?
I'm a lot of ways. So I listen to a lot of Spotify, but I have several turntables. I have one. I have this little. It was something I set up during COVID. My wife got me for my birthday one of those, like, I don't know, Sharper Image style massage chairs. This really ugly, horrible looking thing, but it's beautiful. But you can set the time. So I've set the time on that to basically a record side. And so I'll sit in the massage chair, put a record on, listen, and they'll listen to a whole side, and like that's my little indulgence.
That sounds incredible.
Yeah. And I have several turntables throughout the house, and I collect records. I've always collected records. And there's a certain, I like it. I like what vinyl. I mean, I'm not really. Oh, the sound on vinyl is better, or whatever. I like that you listen to a side of music and you flip it, and it's like you're kind of as it's intended in a way. But then, I drive a lot. If I'm working and I can't, flip a record every 20 minutes, then I'll put on some playlists. Mm-hmm. I have my cousin Taylor. Sometimes she's my South by music buddy, so she'll sometimes make me playlists on Spotify. So, I'm keenly aware that I'm an old man now, and and so she's younger and helps me keep in touch with more interesting new music.
What do you remember the first vinyl record you ever bought?
Yeah, I do. Kiss, Hotter Than Hell.
Ah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Why didn't you put them on this playlist?
It's funny because,
Spoiler alert.
It was a really fun process putting this together. I probably spent, no joke, maybe like 6 or 7 hours just kind of playing around and listening and remembering and reminiscing about where I was. And I actually did listen to some Kiss songs. I listened to that album, and Kiss is okay.
Yeah. Are you going to go see their final tour that they're going to do? They're supposedly final tour. So
maybe I will. Is it makeup? Are they in makeup?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Getting some encouragement from the crowd. I'm not. Yeah.
Well, this next artist is not Kiss.
No.
But he's pretty awesome. He has a crazy backstory. I don't know if you know much about his backstory.
I know it's like so much shrouded in mystery. I mean, he recorded it's a Nigerian magician really in a way, but musician, and but also was a preacher, I think. And I don't know, maybe because I thought he sort of disappeared, and nobody really knows too much about where he came from, but a very, very inventive musician.
Yeah, he was like 70s, 80s Nigeria made all these crazy, funky electronic music. While at the same time, he like owned a flour mill. He was like a flour mill industrialist, like a kingpin of flour in Nigeria, and then just kind of disappeared. And I think it was David Byrne's label. They reissued a lot of this music.
Okay.
And so that's how I found it, like 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, and so this kind of stems back from me. I didn't know this music until probably around that same time. It was like a resurgence. There was a couple articles, and yeah, it must have been from the David Byrne re-releases. But when I was in college, the same friend of mine that moved to Brazil, he also turned me on to Nigerian funk music, and we would go. So like Houston has a pretty big Nigerian community. And so we went to go see like Sheena Peters and Femi Kuti. Like it was in these strange like large church banquet halls, and the concerts were like extraordinarily long, like 6 hours. And just, I mean, it's like a lot of times there's the Nigerian song on this later on, but like super long songs. And today I have a big playlist of this. It was something I usually listen to when I'm actually doing physical labor, still construction or whatever, and I just get lost. Or if I'm biking, this is a good. I like listening to 19-minute funky Nigerian just instrumental songs. So
that's great. And this is William Onyebor. I think that's how we pronounce it.
That's how I've been pronouncing it.
Yeah.
So
William Onyebor with "Fantastic Man."
Since I came to know you, baby, I've been telling you how sweet you are. I've been telling you how good you are. Now I want you to try to tell me how I look. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, please tell me how I look.
You look so good, fantastic man.
I'm glad you stayed to the Fantastic Man. That's a really nice beat.
That's the best part. I mean, yeah. I think next time we need like dancers on stage here, because sitting here, two white guys
I
just
know, it's
gently
just like
nodding
that's
our
awkward,
heads.
yeah. But that's all I got.
William Onyebor, Fantastic Man, my guest, Tim League of the Alamo Draft House on my KUTX. What do you got up next? This one's going to like, if people haven't had coffee yet, this is going to kind of blow their pants off, this song.
So this is a South by Southwest nod, right? Because I really love exploring music I haven't heard. I will still do it this festival. It's something I always do. And this was a band that I heard at least twice during South by as part of the Japan Night showcase over at Elysium. And it's a three-piece female punk band called Bleach. And they just like, there's something about like it's so energetic, and I've never been in a like that's my favorite musical environment is like a really dense, packed punk show that's like everything's just exciting and vibrating and everybody jumping around. And so I like them so much. Actually, my wife and I went on vacation to Tokyo and sought them out and saw them in a club in Tokyo as well. And so big fan. They've broken up since. But I'm still going to go. I'll be over at Elysium if I haven't even looked at the schedule, but I imagine there's some great Japanese bands happening this year too. So I thank you also because this I never knew what this song was called, and because it was really just a series of a really long name of like 20 kanji characters, but. Shall I go ahead and announce the song?
we found the translation.
Yeah,
Please
thank you.
go ahead.
So this is Bleach, and the song is "The head that controls both right and left sides eats meat and slobbers even today." The hit. They're pretty interesting musicians too. There's some pretty complex time changes in some of their music too. Like I say, I'm a fan.
It's
I own
awesome.
several CDs.
What was it like seeing them in Japan? I imagine it was just nuts.
It was less nuts than here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it wasn't as full.
Huh.
So it was in a small club, and it was cool. I mean, we were definitely the only non-Japanese in that space. But it felt like it was a little bit more controlled than how American audiences listen to punk.
Right, yeah. And you saying about that, like punk shows, I think some of the best punk shows I've seen were at South by Southwest. I've seen them in like record stores, all crowded,
Yeah.
you know, in the aisles or like shipping containers, stuff like that. So I definitely know
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
Uh-oh. This guy's getting in on the action. All right, so what's next on your playlist here? This is another kind of a bit of a switch.
Yeah, so this is a song, and if you worked for me in 1997, 1998, and probably 1999, then I controlled the music at the end of the night of the original Alamo when we were cleaning up the theater, and I was told by many people that I was a bit repetitious, and so this is like a heavy rotation album, and it's a DJ. I was very much into, you know, some say turntablist, whatever, like DJ music at that time, and so the next two tracks are from that era. So this is Kid Koala. I think it's off the Carpal Tunnel Syndrome album, and the song is called Skanky Panky. And what I really like about him is he's got a unique DJ setup. He doesn't use headphones, but he has 3 turntables. And so it's incredibly elaborate, and he kind of does it almost by braille and by feel. And so this one, he'll have solo instruments that he'll be playing and tweaking and playing them by scratching them, so recording something different. So this is, 3 records played at once to create something that my employees in 1997 ended up hating.
Let's hear it. Kid Koala, Skanky Panky, my KUTX. Kid Koala. That's super cool.
Yeah, and so so he's done shows with us at Alamo a couple times. He did the soundtrack to Baby Driver, the Edgar Wright movie. Made his own instruments and kind of tweaked them like he does with the turntables. And he's I'm still a huge fan. He's still doing really interesting work.
That's really cool. Kid Koala there, Skanky Panky, my KUTX, my guest, Tim League of the Alamo Draft House. So we got another kind of turntable legend.
Yes.
This one up next. Who do we
So
have?
this is DJ Shadow, and I first heard this song when I was in Bakersfield. So before the Alamo Draft House, I had a movie theater in Bakersfield, which was a total disaster failure that we ran into the ground over the course of 2 years. But during that time, like as a lead, right before that, I lived above a bar in Bakersfield, and I would occasionally throw parties at the place. It was $300 a month, utilities paid, and it's a bad idea to live above a bar, but you could throw parties. So I knew this DJ, this guy Sid, who ran this outfit called Brass out of Bakersfield and LA, and so he gave me a copy of this track in the mid '90s, and at the same time, before I was maybe going to pursue this career I'm on now, I took a couple filmmaking class, and so I used this as the soundtrack to a 8mm for the only film I've ever made, and nobody is ever going to see it because it's really,
come on.
really pretentious and quite awful. But it has a really good soundtrack.
So this song was in it?
This is this is the music I used for my little student film.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I also tortured my staff in '97 with this while we're cleaning theaters.
So what's this one?
So this is Influx. Takes a little bit to get into the actual music. And this is like a 19-minute song, too. I'm a fan of 19-minute songs.
A song about life, death, love, hate, wealth, poverty, racism. Just a few things been running through my head.
Listen, we call on you. Listen, now we call on you.
Stay strong.
Hear us now.
Music to clean tables by.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, you know, DJ Shadow is so like cinematic in his own way, so that's kind of perfect that you would, you know, find him and be into him, because I always feel like all his songs sound like a little movie. Like you can just put it on as all the samples and things.
Yep,
in
there's
there.
definitely a little pretentious movie for one of them.
I think we got to see that
Okay.
sometime.
I'm sure I've lost it.
Sure, I'm sure. All right, this next one is such a fun song. What can you tell me about this one? And you're gonna have to try to pronounce this one.
I'll pronounce this one. I just have to do it slowly. So this is an Italian artist, Adrian Calentano. And so he kind of started his career in the 60s, and he was a bit of kind of a Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis ripoff. But in kind of a fun way, obviously made it his own, and it was really kind of like a herky-jerky dance style, but then has been one of those guys that's just been forever through like changing and morphing. He's known to have kind of brought rock and roll music to Italy in the first place. And so this was a really fun song that I had a little moment of popularity maybe 10 years ago as well, where he had this thing. He was noticing there's a lot of Italians that were singing, and Italians that they're trying to speak English, but they're kind of messing it up. And then it seemed like people liked the sound of English, so he decided to play around with and make a song that sounded like it was being spoken in English, but it's absolute total gibberish, except for 2 words. And so the name of the song is called Prise and Call in Sina Q-Soul.
That's good enough for me.
It's something along those lines.
That's good
I'm glad
enough
this is
for
written
me.
down so I could nail it. So good.
Right. All right, let's hear it.
Freezing cold in 1990.
You the cold maze, say one freezing cold in 1990. All right.
We the stay in the shoes now and whole building scene in a whole red map. We get the color boss dying. Chance and behind me get the cold. Baby, stay yet with Joe. We the stay in the shoes now and whole building scene in a whole red map. We get the color boss dying.
It's just a really fun song too.
It is, and it really does sound like English. Like you just keep hearing, you're like, what is he saying? Like it's almost there.
Yeah, maybe I just need to turn it up.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but I ended up looking him up. Did you know he was an actor too?
Yeah.
So he was in a Fellini film, La Dolce Vita. He played like the rock singer in that movie, which is pretty crazy too. So, and I remember when there was like a kind of a meme of him like on a Italian TV show performing that kind of went around the internet like 10 years ago. That was super
I think that's
fun.
when it kind of caught my attention. It's like, and then I kind of now sort of overplay it in playlists. So.
Well, for a jokey song, it's such an awesome song. It's super cool. Yeah, I love that one. All right, speaking of kind of funny artists, this next band are amazing, and I feel like they don't quite get their due, especially in America. What can you tell me about this band?
So this is a band that I knew a couple songs, and it was like liked them but didn't love them, didn't know much about them. And then the band is Sparks. And so when Edgar Wright came out with his documentary a couple years ago, I saw it, fell in love with it, and again, I tend to do this. Like, if I see something, fall in love with it, I don't really know that much. I went through and I listened beginning to end every Sparks album, and there's a lot of Sparks album. I have tickets to their show. It's coming up pretty soon. They're coming through town. So I will another bucket list show that I really can't wait. And so this is the one song that I knew from before, but it also remains kind of like their most iconic. Like if you're gonna distill Sparks down into one song and get a taste of them, then it's This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us.
Let's hear it.
Zoo time, is she a new time? The mammals are your favorite time. You're gonna want it tonight. Heartbeat, increasing heartbeat. You hear the thunder of stampeding rhinos, elephants, and tacky tigers. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. Heather, tell me who's gonna leave.
Sparks. I mean, nobody else sounds like them. They're just crazy. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. My guest is Tim League of the Alamo Drafthouse. You're listening to My KUTX. Gonna take another left turn here.
A lot of left turns.
Yeah, we're just going in a circle. That's all we're doing.
So this is from my college years mainly. So I had a roommate for several years who actually lives here in Austin now. We remain good friends today. But we were both very much into kind of classic, hard bop jazz. Go out to see a lot of jazz music, and so this is a fairly, it's a almost a cliche in a way. Like there's a lot of songs. I thought about a different track or two, but then I came back to this because I also think that if you're gonna, again, like have a space capsule or something like that, and like if you're gonna define what this music was at that particular time and what was special and amazing about it, then I would go back to John Coltrane's Giant Steps.
Let's do it. John Coltrane, Giant Steps. Austin has a bit of a jazz scene. Have you ever seen any jazz here in Austin?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. So there's another track that has sort of jazz ties down the slate a little bit, and so certainly. I don't go out as much as I used to, but I've actually made a resolution in 2023 because of being a hermit for a couple of years that this is the year where I dive back in hard to all sorts of live music. So.
What have you seen so far this year?
Oh gosh, I went to a couple shows at the Mohawk. I did. So there was P. Lander Z played and opened up for another female Japanese punk band. I went to go see that, and I am not living up to my. I can't remember. I've seen a few shows.
Sorry.
But the year's young, and this is my week.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So this next artist, I don't know much about this. What can you tell me about this one?
So I don't know the names of these composers on this song, but this is. I'll tell you, tomorrow's the Academy Awards, and this is the first time where I care very, very deeply about who wins Best Song. And so if you haven't seen this movie, you can watch it on Netflix, even though they don't have it in the appropriate original language, but just disregard that. But it's a movie called RRR. And that movie shows the American film industry what an action movie should be, right? It's like, and it's just fun as hell. And because it's an Indian film, there is an outrageous dance number in the middle of it from the song Natu Natu, which has been nominated for Best Song, and without a doubt, it is the best song of cinema from last year, and I will literally flip a table tomorrow if it doesn't win.
Well, you can come back here, flip this
Okay,
table right here.
this is more of my size, yeah.
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
పొలం గట్టు దుమ్ములోన పోట్ల గిత్త దూకినట్టు పొలేరమ్మ జాతరలో పోతరాజు ఊగినట్టు గిర్రు చెప్పులేసుకొని కర్ర సాము చేసినట్టు మర్రి సొట్టు నీడలోన కుర్ర గుంపు కూడినట్టు ఎర్ర జొన్న రొట్టెలోన మిరప దొక్కు కలిపినట్టు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నా పాట చూడు నాటు 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 వీర నాటు 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 ఊర నాటు 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 పచ్చి మిరపలాగా.
And if you just want to watch the dance sequence, it's on YouTube in 4K, and that'll give you a teaser. Like, if you don't want to commit like 3.5 hours to an action movie, you can just watch 7 minutes of unadulterated joy.
That sounds awesome. I'm gonna do that. Yeah. So are you? I mean, do you watch movies every night? Like, what's kind of like in your life? Like, do you watch movies like you listen to records?
I watch probably more movies than your average fella. When I was younger and when Fantastic Fest was just starting out, I watched an extraordinary number of movies and would also go to a lot of film festivals where you watch 5 or 6 movies a day and just on a steady diet. So that was a bigger part of that for me 15 years ago. But now, I probably watch, I don't know, 5 movies a week.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. Still a lot,
So,
but it's not.
so you know movies. So you saying that this song should win, we should trust you.
I suppose so. I'm a movie professional. I've strong feelings about this film and that song, and how that song is represented in the film is extraordinary too.
Well, what's coming up next?
Another Left Turn. So this is a group from Denton, Texas. Well, that's at least where they met. They're not all from Denton, so it's a variable size band. It's probably no smaller than 14. They have a really interesting way of recording their albums in that every album, it's usually, when they record, it's probably about 20, 25 people, and they record it all live in a studio, but with a live audience in the studio. So, and they'll rehearse, they'll learn the songs, and then do a week of shows, and they'll take the best track from those shows and put it on the album. That's how they've always worked. That's how they worked when they were in college. In part, this is on there because I both love this band, but this is my cousin Michael League, who is the founder of a group called Snarky Puppy. And so they just won their 5th Grammy at the Grammys this year, and they're just an extraordinary force of music. And it's weird. We're gonna listen to it because this is also I don't know, like a 12-minute song, and it gets really vigorous towards the end. But it's probably gonna take like 3 minutes to like noodle around and get to. It's sort of an intro. The reason why I chose this song and I chose Shofu Khan is this has now become one of their 2 kind of anthems. They have a huge following. So they now played the Royal Albert Hall, they played the Kennedy Center, they played the Hollywood Bowl, but usually you get a crowd of 4,000 or 5,000 people, and they're just there's a call and response at the end of the song where the audience participates, and it's always a little bit different every time you hear them. And they've released they record all of their live shows and then they sell digital download that'll be ready. Their engineer travels with them on tour, so they'll send you like a studio-esque recording of the show they just did, sort of like Grateful Dead in a way.
That's really cool. So this is Snarky Puppy on My KUTX. Snarky Puppy on My KUTX. Tim League from the Alamo Drafthouse picked that one. He's our guest DJ. And this next artist, I'm guessing more Nigerian funk?
It is.
Am I
it
right?
is.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is my double dip.
No.
But this was actually like on my turntable when I was first assigned the task of coming up with a playlist. So I was like, well, I should probably at least consider what you were just listening to earlier in the day. And so, again, the Funkies is the name of the group. They've been recording crazy music, 60s, 1970s, from Nigeria. And this one is a song called Akula, which, again, it's 16, 17, 18-minute, but, I mean, you'll hear it. It's just, this is my construction, like, lose yourself and biking music. It never gets old.
Let's build something. The Funkies by KUTX. The Funkies, My KUTX. I didn't know that band. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for introducing us to that one. So up next, what do we got?
So this is a song from my courtship years with my wife, girlfriend at the time. So Carrie and I started dating sophomore year of college back in 1989. Still happily married today. But one of the first things we bonded over was our love of Nina Simone and Patsy Cline. So I wasn't sure which way I wanted to go. But Nina Simone, strangely, like I've always loved her music. She's like extraordinary, obviously. But we released a movie, the Nick Cave documentary, 20,000 Days on Earth. And there's a really funny scene in that where the drummer, they're actually playing on a set with Nina Simone for some reason. And so the drummer is a huge fan, and just went in to introduce himself and say, hey, is there anything that I can do or I can get for you? And she's like, yes. Champagne, cocaine, and sausages. Which now is, it'd be my rider, I suppose, if I'm a musician. But and so he did. He's just like, it was the craziest words I've ever heard in my life. So damn it, I didn't have the time, but I actually scored her some cocaine, got her a nice bottle of champagne, and a big plate of sausages. And she said, thank you. And then that's his only interaction with her for his entire life.
Nina Simone and the song perfectly called Feeling Good.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel.
Nina Simone, Feeling Good. And we just got one more track, so what are you going to leave us with, Tim?
So this is during the Bakersfield, California days when our theater was called the Tejon Theater, and it was a very failed art house theater. But the thing that didn't fail about it, it was a single screen, probably 1,000-seat venue where we were showing very esoteric art films in Bakersfield in a crime-ridden neighborhood. But we also did punk shows. And so we had a huge roster of people that come through. We made all of our money there on these punk shows. And so I was visiting my parents in D.C., and I went to a club, and there was a band. I can't remember the name of the band, but it was on Ian MacKay's label. And so I was like, oh, great, let's go check it out. So we did, and Ian was there. And earlier that day, I'd found in the gutter this weird, like glamour shot photo that was just strange and off-putting, dirty. I just had it in my pocket. And so I approached him, and I gave him that photo and told him the story about how Carrie and I had opened up this theater, that we're huge fans, and if he ever goes out on tour again, that please remember us, remember this photo, and because we will do anything you want, like you name the terms, just we'd be honored to be a part of the tour. And then 6 months later, they came out with this album called Red Medicine, and went on tour, and he actually emailed me because I put my email address on the back.
Whoa.
And so it worked. And so they came on that tour, and like Snarky Puppy, they recorded all their shows. And so that show in Bakersfield is actually available for $5 on his website. And one of his requirements, we had built a stage, but we didn't have a barricade. And so I built a barricade for him, but I built it out of wood and 2x4s. And in the middle of the show, the barricade collapsed. And so they stop, and there's like, we're not going on until this barricade is fixed. And so there's like this weird, awkward 3 minutes on this recording. And so you can hear these drills going. That's me. I'm fixing that barricade in the middle of the show.
You're on a Fugazi recording.
Yeah, I'm on a Fugazi.
Badass.
I got like a little minor sound effects. So.
That's so cool. Oh, man. Awesome story. So what are we going to hear?
This is just a super fun song off of that album where they toured and hit Bakersfield, California. And it was very meaningful to me. And the song is great, they're great, and the song is called Target.
Great song to go out with, Fugazi, Target, my KUTX. My guest has been Tim League of the Alamo Drafthouse. Tim, this has been so cool, just getting to pick your musical brain here. This was such a fun playlist. I loved it.
It's a fun way to start a South by Saturday, so thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, and thanks to everyone for coming out. Thank you. And remember, you can hear this full episode with the full songs next Saturday, so a week from today, March 18th, 6 p.m. on KUTX. Also find it at KUTX.org. I'm Art Levy. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of South by.
Thanks.
All right, a big thank you to KUTX and Tim. Thank you for being here. We like Rice University too. It's time to eat. Ben, is it time to eat? Everybody get some food. I invite everyone to join us at noon for a very special presentation. A reminder, go check out this Lamborghini in this house. Really, go check it out. Also, our first panel starts at 1 o'clock, so please stick around if you can. And a reminder, our Burnt Orange Bash with live music the party starts at 5 p.m. Opener is at 6:15, and the headliner is at 7:30. Come check it out. All right. Thank you for being here.